snow, let it snow, let it snow.
It is literally so cold there, you would not believe.
Let it snow, let it snow.
Just got back from the supermarket. There was absolutely nothing there because this weather is just torn Britain apart and everybody's demolishing the shops. I got some hummus. It was reduced, so I picked it up anyway. I thought it'd be a good idea to share a question and answer session that our new nutrition sponsors, OTE, were based in Leeds. If you didn't already know, they're sponsoring GLT Condo this year. So they didn't ask me to do this. I did a little Instagram story. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's at @Laverack. But yeah, I did an Instagram story of when I was there, but the whole purpose of the day was to just like look around their premises and stuff like that. Just gonna finish this bit of hummus first. Hummus is one of those deadly foods that if I have a pot that they, you know, the big pots they sell them in, I will demolish it. And like, let's start the Q&A. When did you get your first bike and what was it? My first bike would have been a 1987 Peugeot, made in France. It was very, very vintage. It had down tube shifters. It had like a really classic old saddle, which kind of like you sat in it and I can't really describe it. Anyway, it was really comfortable actually, but the frame, as usual, for any novice cyclist, was like way, way too big for me. How long have you been racing bikes? Well, I've been racing bikes since 2011, but that was only like time trials in my local cycling club. And even then, like, I was quite nervous about even starting any kind of racing. But the time trials were the place where I started, and they weren't that far away. They're just down the road, and I still do them now, because I know a lot of you ask if I still do local time trials, and they're really good for me to do because they're at the end of the day, so I can train in the morning and then do the time trials in the evening. But I fully dipped into road racing in 2012. When did you know or decide to become a full-time racer? I guess it dawned, well, it didn't dawn on me, but like what I was doing at the time, playing football, and I didn't really like, it wasn't really floating my boat. So I watched the 2008 Olympic Games. A lot of you will know this story because I made a separate video on it. It's not what I call like an inspirational story, but I guess it's one of those stories you could write a book about. The 2008 Olympic Games, it was a Sunday afternoon. Obviously it was in Beijing. I remember it vividly because me and my dad used to go shopping every Sunday, and I wanted to watch the end of this like cycling road race. Nicole Cook won the Olympic gold, and that was the race I was watching. And at the time I was looking for a new sport, even though I was still playing football, and this looked like kind of such an interesting sport, and there was lots of different, you know, categories and disciplines within the sport, and that really got me fired up. Did you play any other sports growing up? Football. Obviously I played other sports at school, but I played for Llanelli Academy up until 15 years of age, and then I didn't make the cut, so I stepped back down to kind of village level football. And then obviously watched the Olympics and cycling started from there. Who is your biggest inspiration? I don't really have an inspiration because I don't really know what they mean to a person. They inspire you, but then what else do they do? I think the people who are the people I look up to the most, as corny as it sounds, are my parents. You know, my mum for feeding me and supporting me and being, you know, the mother that you're supposed to be in supporting, you know, my journey and what have you. And then like my father who works on farms, he's an agricultural contractor, for basically, you know, showing me hard work. I used to go with him and help out on the weekends, you know, when I wasn't in school or even in half term, and we'd be out there, in fact, in weather like this. And that was, you know, that was something that was driven into me at a young age as well. What have been the standout races or pivotal moments in your career? Hands down, I'd say the one that stands out is the British Under-23 Road Race Championship win in 2014 in Abergavenny, in Wales of all places. And at the time I was riding for Christian House, Rich Handley, Mike Cumming, you know, they were all on our team, what was then Raverack on the GRT. And they were kind of like they were spearheading the assault on the national champs. And, you know, we didn't really have the under-23 thing in our minds. It was more like, you know, these are the guys we're watching, and, you know, our best result is with these. But cycling is a weird sport, and, you know, I didn't have a clue that I'd be able to pull that out of the bag. It was just obviously in me, but I just didn't know I had it in me. It's a big discovery. I think a lot of junior riders, or even if you're under 23 now, like you'll push yourself and you'll realise that you've got a lot more in you than you actually have. But that race taught me a lot in terms of you know, just learning how far you can push yourself. The defining moment in that race was the break had gone. Obviously Team Sky were the majority of that break, and then behind, Geraint Thomas had missed the break. He tried time and time again to get away, but he was doing it on the flats. We took a turn in a little village called oh gosh, what was it called? We took a turn in a little village, and we went up this climb through a lane, and I remember being second wheel at the time for no particular reason, and Geraint kind of was on the front on the climb, and he kept up in the tempo, and eventually flicked his elbow. I came through, and then like I kind of looked under and I could see he got in behind me, and I was like, well, why is he got in behind me? Like if there's like the whole bunch is with us, then, you know, he's probably slipped back. And then we went on for another like maybe 5 minutes, and I swung off. Geraint came around me again, and I pulled in behind him, and I realised there was only like 5 of us there. And that was the moment that I realised that obviously I had good legs that day. What major struggles have you encountered during your career to date? Without a doubt, it's the first year I spent on the team. When I signed for Raverack on the GLT straight over the junior ranks, because I was that was my first year competing full time. It was a struggle anyway, but I think the fact that I went to Australia, which is the first time I'd ever gone on a plane, first time I'd ever gone long haul, first time I'd ever done a stage race, it's the first time I'd ever experienced you know, 40-degree heat, massive learning curve, and that was January. So went from there to coming home and then doing the Tour of Normandy, which is a complete opposite of the Sun Tour. Managing to drag my backside around northern France and finishing, and then being drafted into the Tour Series team, which a lot of you I know a lot of you aren't from the UK watch this, you're actually from the US, but the Tour Series is probably the toughest criterium racing in the world. And that event in itself was a baptism of fire for anybody. We had a really experienced team, and I was just like kind of that young gun at 18 being drafted in to do it. What are your future goals as a bike racer? I think the major goal is to be the best I can be, and to continue to be better and better every year. Even if I retire in 2 years or 7 years or 15 years, I'll still ride a bike, and undoubtedly I'd probably still make videos about me riding a bike. So regardless of when I retire or how far I get up the professional ladder, I will still keep doing what I do and putting in the same effort and more until, you know, well, I can't see me not improving. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. I'm sorry it's a little bit long, but content is king at the end of the day. So if I rambled on the answers, I'm sorry, but they are my answers. So yeah, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you've had any snow or anything. It's probably a stupid question because a lot of the UK is covered in it right now. But I hope you've been safe, and take care out there on your bikes.